House of Sin. So, this is kind of a continuation of yesterday's video, while at the same time, not. Back when I lived in Indiana, a bunch of us would play role playing games on Saturday night, and around 11 o'clock, and then at midnight, the person who hosted the games would have a party at his house, again, every Saturday night, till about 3, 4 in the morning. The house was iconically called the House of Sin. Now, I wouldn't say anything actually sinful happened there. It was just, it was just a name. Um, but again, this is a big part of my life. Every Saturday I would be there. We, Dan Lawrence was the owner of the house. He had in one of his living rooms or one of his rooms was drum set, keyboard, and he liked playing music while people karaoke'd or sang along, which I enjoyed doing. Uh, Alanis Morissette's "You Ought to Know," I liked singing that. White Rabbit from Jefferson Airplane, love singing that. Most other people didn't really enjoy me singing it as much as I enjoyed singing it myself. That's another story. Uh, so yeah, that would happen. There would be people playing board games like Cosmic Encounters or playing video games like Grand Theft Auto. Back in the early 90s, we'd watch the latest Star Trek Next Generation. So, as you can tell, these are totally sinful, at least for Indiana standards, sinful activities. Now, as I mentioned, when I first started going, it was people who played the role playing game would show up at his place afterwards. Later, there was an online group called the Haveners. So this is actually also early 90s, which I introduced to this party. And that's a whole other video because that's online chat line culture way before at the beginning of the internet. So while this was called the House of Sin, and at the very early years, it was kind of benign. The parties did get more intense to up to 100 some people later by mid 90s, to the point where cops would get called a few times. Lots of drinking ended up getting involved. So, but it was a fun time. I've met lots of good friends who I still keep in touch with from that event. Overall, for a medium sized town in the middle of Indiana, a lot of fun was had by a lot of people. So, what were your hangouts when you were in your younger